Are you any relation to Norman?
Not that I know of, but you never know. My name is Horne. I am with Texas Right to Life, and just wanted to give y'all kind of a brief overview of how to effectively communicate in a committee setting. And they have changed it a little bit. Last session and this session, we are now doing computerized registration, which also means that you can register to speak in a committee up to 24 hours in advance of the actual committee hearing. And so not only can you register to speak, but you can also just register in support or against a bill. So even if you are in the Capitol and you aren't going to be able to be there the next day, or you just want to put your name down as supporting or against a bill, you can actually go and electronically put your name in there, and it will be on the witness list even if you do not choose or are unable to speak. So that's just kind of a change from last session, where you can have your voice heard, be on the witness list without having to stay and speak if you're not able to. So we have moved to electronic registration. There's little iPads that are outside committee rooms. Doesn't even have to be outside the specific committee room. You can go on the iPad and look up any committee hearings in the next 24 hours, and you can register your name, support or against, and you can also register to speak if you do intend to be there. So that's kind of the how. Yes, sir.
Any way you can access that through the website?
You do have to be on the Capitol grounds to register.
You have to be physically here.
Yes, yes. And so I guess it's to make sure that the people are actually coming to the Capitol in support, to make sure that you don't have people from everywhere.
You're really committed.
Yes, yes. So it is kind of a barrier to access, I guess. So you do have to come and register, and usually most committees will limit their speeches to about 2 to 3 minutes. Sometimes you have 5. Normally it's about 3 minutes, and they're usually pretty strict on that. So if you do intend to come speak, just have your committee testimony prepared, have it succinct as possible, have your story prepared to be told within a couple of minutes, and you can submit written testimony at that time, but it's good not to have to rely too heavily on it, because they do get a lot of written testimony. They're not necessarily going to read it, and you have to, if you do choose to bring it, I think you have to bring 20 copies just so they can have enough for their committee and their clerks and everyone else. And so that is an option, but depending on what your testimony is, if you have charge and things like that to go along with it, it can be a good idea, but it's a good tool not to rely too heavily on. So have your committee testimony prepared, and then as far as effectively communicating, I would just say probably the most important thing that you're looking to do here when you testify is to show the legislature or the committee why it matters to you, why it affects you, why it affects those you love, how exactly this looks to you as a citizen. And that's why you're there. You're here as a citizen to effectively communicate to your lawmakers. So it's not so important to be too technical with the bill or to get into the nitty-gritty of it. I think it is important to know what the bill does, and so you can read the bill, or if it's a long, complicated bill, you can even read the bill summary. There's a lot of documents that kind of summarize more effectively and in plain English what the bill does, so that you can get a handle on just plain speak, how does this affect me, why is it important? And so when you explain that you know what the bill does as it is in relation to you, I think that really gets their attention. They respect that you are coming with the knowledge of what it does and why you're there and why they are there. And so they really appreciate the people that are succinct and can articulate why it is that this matters so much to them. So I think my main points are just to have your story written as succinctly and effectively as possible, and do explain why it matters to you, do explain how the bill is directly going to affect you, and be respectful, as Tony has been talking about, and you're here. I mean, this is why they're here, to listen to you, and so I think they'll appreciate that you're coming here, and they'll appreciate that you respect their time and your time, and I think it'll be a good experience.